Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to return to Spain once again. We're going to go to Barcelona in Catalunya and we're doing another beer from Edge Brewing. So I reviewed a beer from Edge Brewing, the American Strong Ale, the Brass Knuckles I think it was called, not so long ago, but this was another one that we got in the small partiers up here in Sweden, and this was one that really fascinated me, so I just had to get it. So today we're going to have a taste of the Sangria Sour, which is described on Rate Beer as being a fruit beer, so I guess it will be somewhere between a fruit and sour beer, this one, but it comes in at 6.3%. And yeah, it should be quite an interesting one. I've had positive experiences with this brewery in the past, so I'm really looking forward to having a look at this one. So yeah, the thing that made me laugh on this is it's got 3 IBUs. This must be the lowest IBU beer I've ever drunk on the channel for you actually, so quite funny actually this one, but I've had good experiences with this brewery in the past, and I'm sure this one will be quite an interesting beer as well. So yeah, as always, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery then. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews I've done from Edge Brewing before. No doubt I will do some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Spanish beers that I've reviewed for you, and I do add to that whenever I can. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review, especially if you're watching it in Catalunya, Basque or throughout the rest of Spain. It's always great to hear from you guys, and I know that there's some really interesting beers coming out in Spain, but of course the Spanish beers are just a little bit difficult to get anywhere outside of the country, of course, and hopefully that changes in the next few years. But anyway, to tell you a little bit about Edge Brewing then. So Edge Brewing are based in Barcelona and Catalunya in Spain, as I mentioned a minute ago, but the brewery was founded back in 2013 by 2 Americans, Scott Vanover and Alan Shepherd, and basically they wanted to bring American craft beer over to Europe, and that sounds a little bit similar actually to Basque Brewing Project. It does seem to be that there's a number of breweries in Spain at the moment who are being kick-started by Americans, but if they spread the craft beer bug, who cares? It is cool to be able to get good beer in different countries. But with them they actually brought American craft brewing equipment and various different recipes. So the brewery is located in the Pobla Nou district of the city, and they now have their own bar on site, and they offer various tours where Alan is often present. So the head brewer is Alan Shepherd from Florida, and apparently he's done work with over 350 different breweries worldwide, and in the brewery he likes to use imported Yakima Valley hops, and he also uses his yeast from White Labs in San Diego, and often they actually fly that in on special on Express from San Diego, so there is a little bit of a unique thing about this brewery. But they also treat their water before it goes into the brewing kettles as well. I don't know if they treat it so that it's similar to the sort of San Diego area or something like that, but of course, if I'm remembering correctly, when it comes to brewing beer, you want soft water that doesn't have quite a bit of minerals in it, although I've tried a few beers from like Iceland and things where they've used hard water, and it turns out really quite nicely too, so just down to brewer's preference, I guess. But as I said, I've had positive experiences with Edge Brewing in recent times. The last beer I reviewed from these guys was the Brass Knuckles, and I did review a double IPA from them before, which was nice as well, but this one was one that really just kind of piqued my interest. A Sangria Sour, when are you ever going to hear that? So yeah, so they do quite a few different beers. Check out the brewery website in the description below, but we'll get on to the tasting of this beer itself now. So on the side here it says, this special beer was a year in the making. After many trials we harvested a unique souring strain from our secret bodega located here at Edge. We then utilised an intense double fermentation process to sour and then ferment the beer with summer fruits and create this luscious and vibrant fruit ale. So yeah, I guess they're considering it as a fruit beer rather than a sour beer or wild ale or whatever, but it says on the site here, me want craft beer, her, I'm more of a Spanish wine person, solution at Sangria Sour, the beginning of a beautiful romance. So yeah, quite nicely presented this one. It's a typical sort of this typical style of Edge Brewing artwork. I do really like their symbol actually. The black and orange really goes quite well together. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Harley Davidson colour scheme over in America. But yeah, it looks really nice. As I said, 3 IBUs. I'm pretty sure this is the lowest IBU beer that I've ever drunk on the channel for you, and I think this one is best before the 13th of the 11th 2018. So yeah, this one, you probably could age this for a little bit if you wanted. It seems to be about 18 months. But yeah, without further ado then, let's get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting. So yeah, nice smoky opening on this then as we open it up. and you can smell some of the sort of cherry and red grapey things that you would expect from sangria. You can really smell that coming out of this. I've only been to the Canary Islands. I went to Tenerife with an ex-girlfriend of mine a few years ago. It was full of moaning British people, of course, which was quite annoying, so I kind of kept my mouth shut and spoke to the Germans instead. But I had some sangria when I was there, and I really liked it actually. I'll need to make it now that I've got it in my head, so I'm really interested to see how this beer turns out. But you can definitely smell some of this nice kind of candied red fruit. There's a little bit of a tropical kind of note to it, and you can get a little bit of the kind of sharp, tart, citricy character in there as well. But yeah, as you can see, if I hold this beer up to the light, it's poured in almost kind of like strawberry, it's almost like a kind of cranberry juice colour actually, or maybe just a little bit lighter than that. I think that's probably a good way to describe it, to be honest. It's a nice sort of almost blood red colour. Maybe a little bit lighter than that. It's actually very similar to the red that's on the bottle here. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but it's almost like a kind of strawberry red. That's probably the better way to describe it. But you can see there's a 3/4 finger of a frothy white head on this one. It's got a little bit of a pink tinge to it, I'd say. If I hold it up to the light, yeah, I think it's fair to say that it's like a kind of strawberry Ribena kind of colour actually. It looks really nice. There's one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, it looks like a really nice beer. Fruit beers are always going to give you some interesting colours like this. But yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. Oh yeah, that's really quite interesting. It actually reminds me of some of these Italian craft beers that I've come across recently. Of course, in Italy, sour beers are really quite popular actually. They like to treat their beers like wine, so probably that's one of the reasons why sour beers are so common in Italy. And maybe, I don't know about Spain actually, I've only tried beers from 3 or 4 different breweries in Spain, like Nomada, Tiras I think as well, these guys, Edge and Basque Brewing Project. I've not had too many Spanish beers, so maybe that's another thing, and maybe it's going to be a thing in southern European countries, of course. But who cares as long as they're good. But yeah, that's a really interesting aroma. So with this one, you can pick out the nice sort of bready character. It does have that sort of wheaty and oaty character. I mean, that was the one that they said that is in the malt base of this one. I actually forgot to read that to you. So this one is hopped with crystal. It has a malt base of pale wheat, carapils, carahel and oat flakes apparently, this one. I forgot to read that to you when we were opening it up. But yeah, 6.3% alcohol as well. But definitely it's got a nice sort of bready, wheaty malt base to it. You can pick up that little bit of oaty character as well, definitely. To me it smells like it has a little bit of an almost biscuity character coming out of it as well. So it's got, for a sour and kind of fruit beer, it does have a good malty presence in the aroma. But of course the main part of the aroma, the main and most prominent component, is definitely these fruity notes. So there's a little bit of cherry in there, I think. You can pick up some of that tart, sharp citricy note from the wild yeast, of course. And there's a sort of candied red fruit. It's got a little bit of a kind of figgy, sort of plummy thing coming out of it too. And there's maybe, I'm getting a bit of strawberry from this as well actually. It reminds me of Scottish strawberries a wee bit. But yeah, it's a really interesting aroma. I don't think I've ever come across a fruit beer, kind of sour beer, that has quite the complexity that this one does. Because as I say, normally you don't expect such a big malty base from them, but it goes really well with the overall thing of the beer. It reminds me a bit of strawberries and cream. That's probably a good way to kind of sum this one up actually. But there's a bit of almost red, purple grapey character, I think I should say. But yeah, really interesting beer. As I always say, just take a little bit of time and mull over the aroma before you actually try the beer. But let's get stuck into this one then. So this one is the Sangria Sour from Edge Brewing Company in Barcelona, Catalunya, down in Spain. Salute, or salud, sorry. That's pretty nice. It's not like any other fruit kind of sour beer that I've come across, so really if you want something really unique, give this a go for yourself. But I like that. It's not, I should point out as well, it's not one of their higher rated beers. I think it got an 80 overall on Rate Beer when I checked it out. So their other beers, some of their other beers get way up into the 90s, so it's not one of the better rated ones that they do, but certainly it's a very, very unique beer actually. And that's what craft beer has to be about. You have to be willing to experiment and play around with hops, malt, and even things like this. But I can see what they're saying with this. This is really quite interesting. The sort of grapey things that I would expect from the Sangria aren't maybe as prominent as I thought. It's a nice fruit beer, and the malt base gives it a really nice kind of sweetness on the back end as well. It's really quite nicely done. But the Sangria for me, the sort of Sangria flavours aren't as prominent as I was quite expecting. I was expecting this one to be quite dark and a bit darker and more grapey and cherries with its fruit, but it's actually leaning more towards the kind of lighter and tropical side of things, which is quite interesting. It's probably the crystal hop that's doing a little bit of that. But yeah, I mean, the main point to take away is that it's a nice beer. So let's look at this a little bit more closely. So the middle of your palate, there's this nice smooth malty base in there, so it's a little bit bready. You can definitely pick up the slightly more smooth wheaty aspects to it, and the oats are definitely coming out as well. The oats, there's a little bit of a sweetness right in the middle of the tongue, and I think that's the oaty characters coming out. I'm still getting a little bit of like an almost biscuity flavour coming out of it as well. Right, you've seen how long it was since I took a sip of the beer. I'm starting to get a little bit of this biscuity, it's maybe even pushing caramel, very light caramel, sort of honeycomb or something like that. There is definitely a little bit of a biscuity, caramelly, honeycomb sort of sweetness in the middle of this beer. There's quite a lot going on in the middle of your palate, and I would say that with this, I'm repeating myself, but I would say this one, for some of the fruit and sour beers that I've come across before, it does have a good little bit of complexity to the malt base, so that makes it a wee bit quirky. Yeah, that's a good beer. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again, and it is, as I say, it's quite unique within the sort of fruit beer, sour beer category, and that's what you always want as a beer reviewer. But yeah, the fruity aspect of this is interesting. There's nothing really coming out from the hops in this. I mean, you can pick up a little bit of grassiness around the front edge of your tongue, but other than that, the hops are pretty much there. And as I said, it's got 3 IBUs, so you're not really going to pick up all that much out of it, but the fruity aspect of it's really interesting. So just behind the front curve of the tongue, and just before, as I always say, the hops come out on the very edge of your tongue. If you just go in a little bit, that's where you get the sharp, sort of tart, citricy character coming out of this one. But it's not all that lemony, I'm finding this one. It's got a little bit of that, but then it's got more of a kind of red fruity character to it as well, which is interesting. But yeah, that's really nice. As I said, the fruity character, if you just go behind the front curve of the tongue, that's where some of these nice fruity, juicy characters are coming out of this one. For me, it's coming out, there's a little bit of a raisiny, or a sort of plummy. It definitely has a little bit more sharpness to it than some of the red fruits you will come across. As you move further into the aftertaste, it seems to progress to like a kind of candied red fruit. As I always say, it reminds me of those little heart-shaped sweets you get in Haribo Star Mix. It's got that kind of feel to it. But for me, there is a little bit of a kind of cherryish or red grapey character on the edge of the tongue. When they add fruit to the beer, of course, it comes out on the edge of the tongue, and I'm feeling a little bit of that. I don't know if they added fruit to this one, but I mean, it doesn't matter. The main point is that this is a good beer. It's definitely a beer. I think they said this one is available from June to August, so it is a sort of summer seasonal beer, and it definitely kind of suits that kind of time frame. This is a really nice, kind of easy drinking summer beer. The quality of sour beers and fruit beers and stuff like this is on the up these days. Some of the breweries in Sweden, like Dugas for example, and what is it, Bricaria, they're producing some really nice things. So it is cool to see that kind of sour beer bug spreading around a little bit more. But definitely, this is a really nice beer. I like the way the sort of creamy, smooth malt base kind of complements the fruits in this. That's probably the kind of key quirk to this beer, actually. I can't remember if it might be a little bit too sharp. I remember Sangria being a little bit darker because it is based on wine, and you put different fruits and things in it from what I remember. It doesn't quite have, it's got a bit the kind of sharpness that you'd expect from wine, but it doesn't quite have that sort of darker red wine kind of thing. It's maybe leaning more towards the white wine, but I don't know, I'm not a wine connoisseur, I have to admit that, but it's on its own as a beer, it is really nice, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. But I'm not sure how close it is to Sangria. It's a nice fruit beer, it's a nice sour beer. We'll leave it at that, I guess, for trying to describe this one. So yeah, thumbs up to Edge Brewing on this one once again. In terms of the mouthfeel, it's quite light-bodied, I would say, maybe pushing the mid-bodied category. It does have a little bit of oiliness to it, and as I said, for a fruit beer and a sour beer, the bigger presence that the malt base has kind of beefs it up a little bit. It's got a little bit of oily character. The malt base has a little bit of has smoothness to it, but it's got just that little bit of sweetness. The hops there's pretty much not anything there from the hops, just a little bit of grassiness around the front curve of the tongue, I'd say. There's a good little bit of tart sharp character from the nice wild yeast that they've used in this, and there's a lot of fruity juiciness as well. So overall, like I said, they've done a really interesting beer here. I think that's a good way to sum this one up. It's really quirky, it is interesting, and it's definitely a really nice kind of summer sour beer. And as I say, a lot of breweries are experimenting with it now, so it is cool to see some Spanish experimentation going on there as well. I can't speak today, but yeah, if you get the chance to try this one, make sure you check out the Sangria Sour from Edge Brewing in Barcelona, a really quite interesting beer. So yeah, thank you once again for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. I'm sure I'll return to Edge Brewing at some point in the fairly near future, so in the meantime, let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below if you've tried it, and let me know what your favourite beers are from Edge Brewing as well. So until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff, check out my social media, but most importantly, make sure you try some of these Spanish craft beers, and do get in touch and let me know some of the other craft beer breweries that I would check out. So a big thumbs up once again to Edge Brewing for this one. It's a really quirky and unusual beer, but it's great for the summer, and I love that I really like that slightly more malty presence that this one has. So if you like a fruit beer but you want a little bit more malty character, this one I think is going to suit you down to a T. So yeah, until the next time, Slàinte just now, Salud I should say, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Cheers.